This course is presented to you free of charge by TTJ Tech Services of www.ttjtech.biz and by SturItUp of www.SturItUp.com. And remember, Stur is spelled with a U, not an I, so that's SturItup.com. TTJ Tech Services and SturItUp are pleased to offer this course to you, to the glory of God, and to the benefit of all those who listen. Well, welcome to session number 15 of iPad for All Computing today. It is an absolutely beautiful day, praise God. On our agenda is text formatting and advanced editing using Notes. So the Notes app is really powerful, and we're going to spend more time on the Notes app on Wednesday. This is not going to be done in one session. It's going to take two. But today we're going to focus on the actual aspect of writing text in the Notes app. Normally, as you know, when I introduce an app, I oftentimes sort of start by giving a really general but hopefully detailed overview of the entire app, and then we start to dig into that. This is going to be a little bit different, and so is the next one. Well, actually not the next one, but the one after that, because this is where we have to sort of prioritize and say, okay, I think the first thing people want to know how to do with the Notes app is how to write a note, right? Just a simple note. And then we're going to, on Wednesday, come back and we're going to talk about some of the really cool extra features like inserting of bulleted lists, like making checklists, like how to lock the notes so that they require your biometric authentication or a passcode, how to insert other types of attachments into your notes, photos, audio, what have you. So all of that is yet to come. But today we're focusing on the text aspect, and we really need to spend some time talking about writing text. Now, we've talked about the basics of on-screen typing. Today we're going to go more detailed into that. We will be getting into the use of mechanical keyboards, such as the, Magic keyboards and smart keyboard folios and Bluetooth and so on. We're going to get into that, but not this week. Also, the other thing I want to just point out to you is that when we look at this today, this text and the Notes app in general, the Notes app is actually quite powerful, right? There was a time not so long ago. I mean, I guess in the tech world, it was long ago, but not so long ago, the Notes app was just a simple note-taking app. You literally could just make a note, and that was it. And then a whole bunch of additional features got added to the point now that this really does basic word processing. It does allow you to insert photos and draw in your notes and a whole bunch of other features that we will talk about here in today's and Wednesday's session. And then also I want to remind you that it is fully iCloud compatible, and I'm sure you expect that by now, but that's still important because that means you can write a note on one device and it's available on all other devices, and it's collaborative, so you can share it with other people as well. We're going to take a look today at the Notes app. And again, I would stress to you, the Notes app really does do some basic word processing. I use the Notes app quite frequently for simple things that I need to write for myself. When I'm going to be preaching, I make my notes for my message or sermon or whatever you want to call it in the Notes app. I actually copy or write Bible verses there, along with any notes that God wants me to write for that. And excuse me, that can vary as to how detailed that is, but that's what I do for that. If I'm going to be speaking at some other kind of event or some other type of function where and there is the information in the chat, by the way. So don't forget about that. Anyhow, if I'm going to be speaking at some other type of event where I think that notes are, a good thing to have, again, I'll use the Notes app for that. We, as a TTJ team, we use the Notes app to communicate our proposed outlines each year. We have a Notes folder that we share among the team, and that Notes folder can have multiple notes in it, right? So you can create folders of notes to help organize your notes, and we share a folder for the TTJ team, and we put those outlines and other things in there, and so that's another use for it. Now, where I think that the important distinction is that if you're going to be writing longer documents, if you're going to be writing professional documents, reports, school projects, resumes, bios, even a letter to somebody, this now calls for Pages. And we're going to learn how to use the Pages app in a little over a week. All right, praise God. We've actually got 3 sessions plus a lab set aside for Pages so that we can really teach that to you this year. So that's exciting, and I believe by the end of this course you will be either comfortable with Pages or at least willing to give it a try, right? So that is the sort of difference, right? We think of notes as these kinds of things that, are for reference purposes, quick documents, quick, short things like that, even with some formatting, because as I said, there's some basic word processing available in the Notes app. But then when we want to really go to the next level, we go up to Pages. All right, the Notes app right now, excuse me, the way that it functions, I recommend putting every thought on a separate line. So, maybe a sentence or two, and then press return and put your next line in there. And this is a very useful way to be able to review the note when you need it. So I mentioned a few minutes ago that I use it when I'm preaching, for example. So what I'll do is I'll put a single sentence on a line, press return, write another sentence. Press return, type another sentence, and so on. And what this allows me to do is easily use the lines setting in the rotor to go back and review one thought at a time without risking hearing more than I need or not enough, things getting separated between lines, things repeating because the same thing was sort of taking up 2 lines. And so what I like to do is one sentence or one thought per line. All right, let's get started with a demo of how to create a note. Now, I mentioned to you that you can have folders in your notes, and also I should point out that you can have accounts. So once again, like with calendars, like with reminders, you can have multiple notes accounts on your iPad. And once again, like with calendars and reminders, I recommend only using iCloud if that is possible. If you have to use something else, then you need to really be aware of where things are going, what your default account is, and so on. But I really recommend turning notes off for every other kind of account, just making sure that it's on for iCloud. And then I even don't use that. There's an On My iPad account which allows the notes that you take to not sync, to only stay on the iPad. And I disable that as well. All right, Notes is in my dock, so we're going to go to the home screen here.
Speech on, dock, Notes.
And we will
double tap to open.
We'll do that.
Notes, Note, Facebook embed.
Now, I have a note that I was already working on that is on the screen right now on the right side. On the left side of the screen, we have our list of notes in the current folder. And at the very top, at the very left of the screen, there is on the top left an option to
show sidebar button.
Show a sidebar. Like with the sidebar in the Mail app, when you display the sidebar, it kind of adds a third column, and in this case, it's the column of notes folders that you have, and the ability to create new notes folders or notes lists. I think they call them lists, actually, but it is essentially a folder, and it's a way of keeping all the notes on a specific subject, or however you want to do that, organized. And you can even have sub-lists or subfolders within a folder. So there are ways to also do that, and there are even ways to create smart lists that automatically, based on certain keywords or what have you, they will go into a particular folder. And you can also use tags like we did in reminders. Remember tags? You can put a hashtag and a word, and then your notes can be sorted by tags as well. Tags were also in the Files app, but they don't cross over. The tags in the Notes app are entirely separate. Now, also, like in the Mail app, when you choose a folder from the sidebar automatically hides again, except on the 12.9-inch iPad Pro, where it stays visible unless you hide it. So it's one of those like we saw in the Mail app a while back. So the first thing I'm going to do is to go ahead and show my sidebar.
Show sidebar. Folders, heading.
Now,
2:49 p.m. Folders.
You can see
heading.
folders there, and you notice
Folders.
I'm looking.
2:49 folders.
I don't have a hide sidebar button. That's because it's automatically going to hide when I choose a folder. But again, if I were using my other iPad at the moment, which is charging right now, or I guess it is charged by now, but if I were using that one, then it would actually have a hide button again because it will stay visible otherwise. So this is the list of folders now that is on the far left of the screen, all the folders that I have.
Edit button.
We can edit to multi-select and things like that.
Finances, no notes. Family notes, Faith Summit, Faith School, 2 notes.
It sort of brought me
Actions
it brought me part way down, so I'm swiping to the left to go back.
Devotion. 2 notes. 7. All iCloud. Shared.
Okay,
Edit
there's edit.
button.
That's where we were. So let's go to the right.
Quick notes. 2 notes.
All right, we're going to learn about quick notes on Wednesday, but basically what that is you can quickly start a note right from the lock screen. You can add things to a quick note easily. There's a gesture that sighted users use to do this.
Shared. 166 notes.
And that's just a way of me quickly finding all the notes that either I've shared or that have been shared with me. They will also appear in other places, whatever list or folder I had them in, but
iCloud button heading expanded.
And like with so many other
Tap to collapse.
like with
Actions available.
so many other sidebars in so many other apps that we've seen, this is expandable and collapsible. So it's already expanded. It's the iCloud account, and if you go to the right here, we'll see the folders that I have. I'll show you just a few of them.
All iCloud 1919 notes.
Okay, so the first one is all iCloud. That's pre-designated. It's basically, for me, it's every note that I have because I only use iCloud. So if I'm not sure, where something might be, I can search for it, but I also can use the all iCloud folder, and that's just going to show me everything.
Notes. 764 notes.
That is the default notes folder that comes with every iPad. It is in iCloud because I have iCloud enabled, and you can hear that it still has a lot of notes into it. What I need to do at some point is I need to go into this folder and I need to move these notes into their actual relevant folders where they ought to be. I created these either before the folders feature existed in Notes or before I really learned how to properly use it. So there's a lot of stuff in here. Most of it doesn't really belong in here, and I need to move that at some point. But in the meantime, it's fine. It's there. I can search for it and so on. And then we have the folders that I've created.
2022 TTJ Info, Betty, blah blah blah, 40 questions, devotionals, Faith School, Faith Summit 2020.
All of these folders and more are folders that I've created, or in one case there was a folder that one of my kids created, but they're all in this list, and I can double tap any folder to open it and see what's inside it, and when I do that, it will hide the sidebar. Now, the other thing I would just point out here is that you heard it say a couple of times that there are actions available, so we can long press or use the rotor. Again, I always recommend trying the long press because there's probably going to be more options in this than if you just use the rotor. So, but the rotor does have a lot of actions here.
Notes.
If we
2012 Betty shared with Betty.
So there's a folder that's a shared folder. If I use the rotor,
delete folder, move folder, manage shared folder, rename folder, show folder activity, drag item, activate default.
And if I long press,
share folder button, share Betty 4 notes. Shared with Betty Killer. Share folder button. Manage shared folder. Show folder activity. Move. Rename. Delete. Dismiss context menu.
Okay. So you can see either way
folder.
How to get the context actions on a particular folder. And once you open it, I also think there's a folder actions button inside of it too. But let's go ahead now, and I'm going to open a folder called TTJ because that's where I want to create my note for today. Since it's about, since it's for the class, I will go ahead and put it in the TTJ folder. So you want to open the folder that you want to create your note in. If you don't do that, or if you have the wrong one open, or you're in all iCloud or something, you can always move it later, okay? And if you're in all iCloud, or you create a note somehow outside of the Notes app with an option like to automatically, share by a Notes or something, what will happen is it'll go to whatever your default folder is under Settings, all right? So you can control that by going into Settings and Notes. What we'll do is we'll find the TTJ folder.
Blah, blah, blah. Tech 300. Text selected. TTJ 207 notes.
And I'll double tap.
Actions of F selected. TTJ 207 notes.
Now what has happened?
Preaching. Tech 300. Tech 300. Science.
It was already selected.
Select TT. Selected. Selected. TTJ 200 folders. Heading. Fold. Edit. Fun. 47.
And basically, if I change to a different one,
selected. Fun. Show sidebar button.
It hides, but because that one was already selected, I had to sort of do a workaround there. Now I can find
Megan scripture preaching. Tech 3 Tech TTJ selected. TTJ 207 notes remaining iPad 2024.
Okay, so now it did what it was supposed to, and it hid the
show sidebar TTJ
and we're now inside the TTJ folder. Now the TTJ list of notes, or TTJ folder, is a shared folder because we use that with our team. So the other folder that I showed you a minute ago was also a shared folder already, but you also saw how to share it, and you can, that's either in the long press menu or in the rotor. There are benefits to sharing an entire folder if that's what you intend to do. So you can share individual notes collaboratively, but if you share the whole folder, anything you put in that folder then is shared, okay? So that is a benefit to doing that. Now we are here, and what we have is the sidebar is hidden now. So on the left side of the screen, we're seeing all the notes that are in this folder. On the right side of the screen, we're seeing whatever note we select from the left side. So let's take a look at just an example here.
Show sidebar button. TTJ heading. Folder actions button.
And remember I told you I thought there was a
show the notes list action menu.
Right. Remember I told you there was a folder actions button. Let's see what's in that and how that compares to anything else.
View as gallery button. Share folder button. Add folder button. Move as folder button. Rename. Select notes. Sort by default. Date edited. Group by date. Default on. View attachments button. Convert to smart folder button. Dismiss context menu button.
Okay.
Show sidebar.
Lots of stuff there. Some of it is the same as what we saw in the long press menu or in the rotor, but some of it is not. So I want to talk about a few of these things. You did see about the sharing. You also saw the ability to add a folder. When you choose add folder from within the folder actions, what you're actually doing is adding a subfolder within the folder that you're already inside. So it's possible to have subfolders. I told you that already. That's how you add one. What else did I want to point out in that list? There were a few things in that.
Show sidebar.
Let me just go into it again because
folder search folder actions. View as gallery.
Oh,
button.
Yeah, that was actually one of them. So this provides a different view. Right now the notes are just in a list, but the gallery view is going to have a bigger sort of a the notes will kind of appear in such a way that you can see previews of any photos and things like that that are in the notes. It's very visually useful. It's fine with VoiceOver. You can do it there too, but I think it's especially useful for sighted users to use the gallery view. If you have subfolders, that's a great way to, or sublists, that's a good way to show those as well by going into the gallery view. So you have both ways right now. It's defaulting to a list, but you have both ways to view it, both options. So let's go on and see what else is in this folder actions menu that I wanted to mention.
Share folder button.
Already talked about that.
Add folder button.
Already talked about that. That's how you add a subfolder.
Move this folder. Rename.
And those are pretty self-explanatory.
Select notes button.
And that's a multi-select, if you want to move a bunch of notes at a time.
Sort by default. Date edited button.
Okay.
Collapsed.
Sort by, and you heard it's collapsed. It's actually expandable, so you can choose different options there.
Sort by default. Date edited button. Collapsed.
You're
double tap to expand.
Choosing from date edited, date created, the name of the note. How are the notes sorted within this list? But then I want you to hear the next option.
Group by date default on button.
Okay.
Collapsed.
What this does is
to expand.
This puts your notes into groups based on all the notes that are created today, all the notes that were created within the last 7 days, within the last 30 days, this year. You can disable that feature if you don't like it, but it is on by default, and it just causes the notes to appear. The sorting option above still applies, but it's just that they appear in groups now based upon when they were created. So that's an option, and I like it. It's useful, but you don't have to use it.
View attachments button.
All right, so we can just specifically view the attachments in our notes.
Convert to smart folder.
And a smart folder, again, kind of like the tags or what have you. The smart folder, whenever you create notes with a certain name, they can go automatically into a smart folder based on the title of the note or other factors.
Dismiss context menu button.
And we actually we'll dismiss that for now.
Show sidebar button.
So here,
TTJ heading folder actions button.
Still on the left side of the screen.
Search field.
There's our search field, so we can
double tap to edit.
Search for a note that we want to find.
Dictate.
We can voice search.
Button.
Now we get into the list.
Yesterday heading.
And you can hear that it's grouped. This is what was created yesterday.
Shop link. Modified yesterday. HTTPS previous 7 days heading.
All right, here's the next group. And you notice these are organized by heading too.
Titanic Shopify. Bible study link. Previous 30 days. Titanic. Teacher emails. Remaining iPad 2000.
So you get the idea. These are all These are all notes that I've created already. If I wanted to select one, I could just double tap it, and it would display its contents, of course, on the right-hand side of the screen.
Titanic.
So,
teacher emails. Bible study link. Remaining iPad 2024 session.
So I'll use that. Now you notice here, before you ever double tap it,
remaining iPad 2024 sessions. Modified April 2nd, 2024, beginning April 16th, all remaining Tuesday sessions of the season.
Now, there are actions. I'm not going to go into them today. We're going to save that for Wednesday, but just like with folders, there are actions for the notes as well. You can long press. There's a lot of things you can do, but if we just double tap this.
Selected. Remaining iPad 2024.
Okay, the list stays there on the left and on the right.
Note, Monday 04/08. Photos and cap.
We actually have the note, okay? All right, we're going to spend more time on that on Wednesday. What I'd like to jump to now is how you create a brand new note. On the top right of the screen, there's going to be, and I apologize there, I'm not really sure what our puppy's barking about. I don't think that's my son quite yet coming home. She must have seen something out there. Top right of the screen.
Picture, video, notes, note, remaining iPad 2000, note, April 2nd, new note, button.
There are some buttons, and then
tap to compose a new note.
We heard that picture-in-picture thing because that's up there also, of course, since we're using Zoom.
More, button.
But you have some options for the selected note, like more,
handwriting, share,
all those kinds of things, which we're not going to get into just yet. We're going to get into those on Wednesday, but not just yet today. What we want to do is just go over to this new note button.
More, new note, button.
Okay.
Double tap to compose a new note.
And that's what we're going to do. Double tap.
Note, text field is editing. Insertion point at start.
And we're immediately...
Swipe up or down to select a custom action, then double tap to activate. Use the rotor to access misspelled words.
Okay, so we've got a lot to talk about with text. But we're immediately in a brand new blank note. And by default, you can adjust this in the settings if you like, but by default, the first line of text becomes the title of the note. So I'm going to type like TTJ class test or something, and then I'm going to press 2 returns, and I'm going to type a few other sentences, each with returns in between them. So let's begin. Let's type some words.
Cap T, Cap J, space, Cap C, L, A, at, space, Cap T, E, F, T, Cap
and I'll do
colon, test.
We'll put 2 blank lines.
Return. New line.
And now I'll type some more words.
Cap 8, I, space.
Now I could, by the way, I could actually put, I could dictate. I mean, I'm on Zoom, so I can't, but I could normally dictate, and certainly I could use a smart keyboard or magic keyboard. I've got one attached. I'm not using it right now, but I certainly could. And so you have all those ways, or handwriting, or braille, or whatever you're comfortable with. But I'm just writing a few sentences. I'm doing it on screen. I can use my rotor.
Words is this
character. Okay, and I have to
space T E S T.
And I have a period there.
Return period.
Let's put a couple.
New line. Cap O I F space C L A S F space O I F G space T O D Y. Question mark.
All right, now I'm typing rather quickly, and I'm going to do that for one more sentence.
New line.
And then we're going to type more slowly so I can show you some things. We're going to type that sentence that is that famous sentence, which Trainer Kliph said somebody had too much time on their hands if they figured this out. But, this is the sentence that contains every letter of the alphabet. The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog.
Cap T H E space Q A U jet.
Now I mistyped there a little bit, but I'll go back and fix that. I want to actually do that for autocorrect purposes, but that one didn't do it.
U M P jumps. R space T H space L A space D O G period.
Okay.
Dog.
All right. Return.
New line.
All right, so let's talk about some things with just basic typing, but I wanted to have some text there already so that we could work with it later. Let's do some more typing now, and let's do it more slowly so we can talk about a few things. The first thing I want to talk about is that if you want to quickly insert a period, you can actually press the space bar on the screen or on a mechanical keyboard, but we're dealing with on screen right now, right? You can press the space bar twice, double tap, for our non-voiceover users and for our voiceover users using direct touch. I will give a quick reminder about the typing methods, but remember, this is not a voiceover class. But since the majority of our students are voiceover users, I'll give a quick reminder. With voiceover, you have 3 typing modes. You have standard, you have touch typing, and you have direct touch typing. I prefer direct touch. That's what I'm using right now. It allows me to simply type, and every time I tap on a letter on the screen, it gets inserted.
Cap D H E.
See that? We'll delete that.
Delete E H cap D.
But you get the idea. Everything I type, it just gets inserted. If you're not comfortable with typing yet, you want to use standard typing. That's the default with VoiceOver, and that works like everything else with VoiceOver does, that when I tap on a letter, I hear what that letter is, but it does not get inserted. I have to double tap then to insert it, just like you have to double tap on an app to open it, right, on the icon. And this gives you the benefit of you can swipe to find the letter you want, you can slide, you can do whatever you want, and when you find it, you're just going to double tap. There's also touch typing, which is sort of the in-between, right? I tap on a letter. If it's not what I want, I slide to the one that I do want. Only when I find the letter that I want do I lift my finger and then it gets inserted. But the direct touch typing is the one that's most like what our sighted counterparts experience. They just tap on the letter and it gets inserted. So that's the mode that I'm in, and if I double tap the space bar, then that inserts a period. If you are using standard typing, you'll have to triple tap the space bar in order to get the period automatically, or you can just find it on the screen, right? You know on the iPad keyboard that the period is right down there where it is on a physical keyboard, just below kind of like the L, and the comma is below the K, you know that if you add the shift key on most iPads, the comma becomes exclamation mark and the period becomes a question mark. Now, the exception to that is the larger 12.9-inch iPad, which has the exclamation mark with the number 1 right on the main keyboard. So you press the shift key and then let it go and then press the number 1 and it's exclamation, and the question mark is on the slash, just like a full, regular mechanical keyboard. But the period shortcut still works regardless, and that is a double space. And what that does is that inserts a period and a space. Many people who are familiar with typing from years ago, in those days we used 2 spaces after a period, and we don't do that anymore. The accepted now is 1. There are people, including my wife, who resist that and still insist on putting 2 spaces. She says, I'm never going to, I just like it that way. It looks better to me because I'm used to it. That's what we learned, right? But I do the 1 space now because that period shortcut works quite well with it. So let's demonstrate that. I'll type class is going well,
Cap
and
K.
we will...
Cap L. L A. S F space class I F space G G space L.
Okay, you also heard that it said, well, I'm not going to do that this time because
LL.
I want to
L.
do the period shortcut. So 2 spaces.
Space.
And what
period.
you can see that it put a period in there, right?
L period space.
Okay. All right, good. Okay. Now I do want to show you what was happening as I was typing, because some people get annoyed by this and they disable it, and I think if you're properly trained on how to use it, you don't have to get annoyed by it. I actually really, really like it. And it's this inline autocorrect, excuse me, and inline predictions, quick type like predictions that happen. What it does is it is reading to you what it thinks you want to type, and you don't have to go any further. You just press space and it inserts it, or period, or comma, or question mark, and it inserts it. So it's basically either space or a punctuation if you like what the prediction is. If you don't, you just keep typing. Like you heard in that case, I just said, well, I don't want to do that because I want to demonstrate this other thing to you. So I just kept typing. You can ignore it. And that's what I think maybe a lot of people find to be challenging, is that they think they can't ignore it. And maybe for some people they can because you're not used to it and you get distracted, and that's why, and you don't really hear what voiceover, you're not comfortable because it's not telling you what you expect to hear. So I understand that if somebody wants to disable it, but I'm showing you that it really can be useful. So I'm going to try to think of a situation where this is going to predict for me. I think if I say, I look forward to hearing from you, I think it's going to predict that pretty well because I've said that a bunch, and so it learns that.
Cap I.
Let's see.
Cap I space.
I'm going to type very
I.
slowly so we can hear everything that's going on.
L P O.
No, it was going to put love.
Oscar.
We'll just keep typing.
Actions of a K space. Look.
All right. Let's try forward.
At or ward to.
Look at that. All I typed was the F, and I'm going to press the space bar.
Space. Forward to.
And it put forward to in there already. All I had to type was the F. So we saw an example where it was not what I wanted. I typed I, and then I put an L, and it was going to put the word love, which would be something I would say, but in this instance, it wasn't what I wanted. So I did not press the space bar there because I didn't want the word love. So I just kept typing. Oh, I put L. I think it was after maybe the first O that it put the VE. I don't remember, but I typed the rest of the word look, pressed the space bar, and I started typing forward. All I typed was the F, and it put the entire forward to in the prediction. Now, if that's not what I wanted, if I were saying something else, I could have just kept typing and ignored that. But because it is what I wanted, I pressed the space bar. It put forward to. We're going to try to type some more now.
H.
We are going to type some more.
H. Hearing.
All right, it already has the word hearing. Press space.
Space. Hearing.
And let's type the F.
At Rome U.
Look at that. It already has what I want, so
Period.
we'll just
period.
put...
Actions available.
And let's read that sentence now.
Return words. Lot. Class is going well. I look forward to hearing F. Rome U.
Okay, now the only thing
Words.
that happened there
Return
is
you.
it appears
At
there's
insert
a...
for- look, I look forward to hear F. Rome.
Okay, what?
F-R-O-M space.
It's actually correct. It is correct there. I think it's just because of the way that it got inserted. VoiceOver's reading it like that, but the word is correct, so I don't have to do anything there.
Y-O-U.
And then
U.
everything. Oh, maybe the period. No.
U.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there
Period.
because
U.
it is there. So yeah. If I'm concerned really about it, I can go back to the word though, and I can I can always retype it. And I'm going to actually just do that because it's going to give us a chance to remind you about where the cursor is when you're swiping. Again, this is not a VoiceOver class, but I just want to remind you, the cursor always speaks the thing that it passes by or passes over. So when you're on, like if I use words.
Return words, U period, from.
All right, it's passed over the word from. It's before the word from. So if I now turn the VoiceOver cursor to characters, I read by going to the next character, swiping down.
F-R-O.
Where is the cursor?
Oscar.
It's actually after the O. It's after the letter O, between the O and the M. If I swipe back up, it says O again because it passed over it, but now it's actually before the O, in between the R and the O in from. And it is reading that correctly now, and I didn't change anything, so actually I don't have to. I don't know why it was doing that, but it's actually okay. So
O-M-Y-O-U period.
All right, let's put another blank line there.
New line.
Okay. That is how. So now we know how to fix things if we want to by putting the cursor where it's supposed to go. Again, if that's just totally overwhelming to you and you're a VoiceOver user, you want to go back and listen to our VoiceOver in and out course, which is also available on YouTube and on the podcast, because we go into great detail about it there. And for our sighted users, I don't really think there's much explanation needed because you can drag your finger, you can move the cursor, the insertion point basically to wherever you want it to be on the screen, and then you can just type. And we know there's a delete option. It's up to the right of the letter P on most iPads. On the very large 12.9-inch iPad, it's up a row above that even. No, wait a minute. It's not up a row, but it's over further because they have the left bracket to the right of the P. So it's going to be one character over farther. That's what I was thinking. I apologize. Remember that it is called delete. It's not called backspace, but it actually functions like some of you might think of a backspace on that other platform, right? It's going to delete the previous character, not the next one. But that is the only delete option on Apple devices. So that's how you do that. We're going to learn how to select some text here in a little bit too, as a review. But I want to just well, actually, what I want to do is say hello to my son when he comes in here, and just bear with me a moment. But then I want to show you. I'm going to do a little more typing yet because I want to have some more examples of that quick type inline auto autocorrect and auto predictions, and I want to show you just a few more situations like that. One piece of advice I can give you about that is that if you type a word and that word is different from what the autocorrect or the prediction was going to give you, it will go with the word that you typed on most occasions, even if it's a part of the other word. Like if you press space, it knows what is a word and what isn't. So it's not going to mess up your typing in most cases. It's just trying to help you. Let's do another example here. Oh, I know something that I often say at the end of messages. Okay. At the end of messages, I often say, "God bless you and take care," and it knows that I'm going to say that. So if let's see.
Cap G-O-D, bless you.
Okay, it already put. Look at that. Look at that. I just pressed the space bar and after God, and now it knows I want to say bless you. I'm going to press space again.
Space, bless you.
And it put that in there. Look at that. I didn't have to type any of that. And now
A-N-D space and T-A keep care.
And it already knows I want to say that. So
period. Actions available.
Look at that. Okay, so let's read this.
Words. God bless you. Class is going well. God bless you and take care.
See?
End of text. God bless you and take care.
Now, I mean, isn't that awesome? And had I kept typing, that would have been okay too. Like people say, well, I want to be able to just type on my own. Well, just keep typing. Just ignore it. You don't have to let it interfere with you. It doesn't have to really do anything if you don't want it to. But I think it's really cool how well it knows what I want to say, and it just inserts it for me there, right? So when you're using a mechanical keyboard, how much time does it save? Maybe not quite as much as, other ways, but it's still saving you time. I would say for most people anyway, maybe. But, you have the choice, right? If you just want to keep typing, just do that. It's not a problem. All right, so that was a great example, praise God, because it did a lot of prediction there, and it got it perfectly well. Let's do, well, yeah, I want to do some misspellings. I want to make some deliberate spelling errors. So we have some misspelled words to work with. So let's do some deliberate spelling errors here so that I can show you kind of what that sounds like. Where are we? Let's put a
Characters. Period.
couple of blank lines.
New line.
And let's type, I don't know. It's going to try to auto-correct, so I have to be probably really deliberate about misspelling, otherwise it'll just fix it. Like if I type the word hello.
Cap H, E, L, 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 O.
Okay, I've probably done this one before, so I think it's going to let that one, even though...
Space, hello, misspelled.
Okay, and let's do...
R-J-E-R-E.
That's supposed to be the word there, but you can hear the bubble. If I look above the keyboard on screen...
Note, undo, but redo, paste, but here. Selected, there. There's.
It already has the correct one selected, so if I press spacebar,
there.
It fixed it for me. And that's a great way to fix spelling errors, is just automatically, right, as you type. And you heard that there were 3 choices up there. The original one was there, the correction was there, and a third option. So I could have double tapped any one of those. If I really wanted the original, I could have double tapped that. But because the one that I actually wanted was selected, I just pressed the space bar, and it inserted the correct one instead of my incorrect typing. And I think when you...
Return word there. There.
Yeah. When...
Characters.
Okay. So let me just continue typing. Let me put the word everyone.
India. V.
But I'll misspell it.
Q. R. Y. I. N. E.
That's far enough misspelled that it doesn't know what to autocorrect to.
Period. F. Ryan. Misspelled.
Okay, good. That's supposed to be everyone, but I, intentionally misspelled that. And let's do...
New line.
I want to do another sentence now where we're going to practice selecting some text here in a little bit.
Cap H-I. This. S. Space. Is. Space. A. Space. A. S-E-N-T-E-N-C-E-T-A-T. Space. Double E. Space. Double L-L-K. Will. U-S-T. Space. P-R-A-S-I-S-E. Space. T-H-E. Space. S-E-L-E. T-I-O-N. Space. O. Space. Of. S-O-M-E-T-E-X-T. Period.
Okay,
Text.
I typed this sentence in a way that's kind of weird on purpose so that we have an example of something we might want to change later.
Return.
Let's listen.
Words. Lines. This is a sentence that we will use to practice the selection of some text.
Okay, a little bit weird in how I said it so that we can fix it and make it better. All right, so we've got a lot of text here that we can work with. So let's start at the beginning. Now, how do you quickly jump to the beginning? You simply tap in the edit field. How do we quickly get to the beginning of a note when we're clear at the end? We simply tap the edit field. Or for voiceover users, of course, we're going to double tap. And this is like a toggle, like you double tap, or tap in it, it takes you to the beginning. Tap again, it takes you to the end. Tap again, it takes you to the beginning, and so on. You can easily move the insertion point quickly back and forth by simply tapping, or for voiceover, double tapping.
Note, text field is editing.
In the edit field. Let's try it.
This is a test.
If I double tap.
Insertion point at start.
Do it again.
Insertion point at end.
Do it again.
Insertion point at start.
All right, we're at the beginning. All right, so lots of things we can talk about in our text. The first one is going to just require me to use the rotor and read by word.
Return text selection, lines, words.
Okay, you can move by lines, by words, by characters. You have to have these things in the rotor, but I think characters and words at least are in the rotor by default. Let's move by word. Swipe down with one finger.
TTJ. Class. Test colon. This, body, 18 point, not bold, system font regular.
Okay, what did you just notice? You noticed that the voiceover is reading the attributes of the text that we are moving over as they change. So let's go back up with one finger.
This. Test colon. Class. TTJ.
And it didn't read at that time, but
Class,
we go back down.
This, body, 18 point, not bold, system font regular.
So that's not bold, so that means the beginning probably is. Let's go back up.
This.
See if we can get it to read this time.
Test colon.
If it doesn't, there is a gesture.
Bottom right corner, thumbnail with notes. Bottom right corner.
But you have to be in the right place.
Class is title. System font regular, 30 point, dark gray, bold, natural alignment, indentation level 0.
Okay.
Word mode, insertion point between class and test. At the 11th position, notes.
Now, it said title instead of body. It also told us that it was bold. It told us that it was 30 point. What gesture did I use to get that, by the way? It's a 3-finger single tap on the screen, but you have to make sure the voiceover cursor is in the edit field, and then just perform a 3-finger single tap, and it will read the attributes like that in case they don't read to you.
Title, system font regular, 30 point, dark gray, bold, natural alignment.
And then as we swipe down,
add link.
I have to go back to the sort of put the voiceover cursor on the keyboard. I'll just use return there because that won't affect anything.
This is a test. This, body, 18 point, not bold, system font regular, indentation level 0.
Now it tells us that we've switched to the body text and that it is not bold, it's smaller, it's 18 point. All right, so there's several things to talk about here. I told you at the beginning that by default, the first line of text in the note becomes the title of the note. It also has a different text style. Now, you've heard some things that you might recognize, like that it's bold, that it's 30 point. But you also heard the word title. And then when we moved past the title, you heard body. I want to talk to you a little about paragraph styles, and we'll spend more time on them in Pages. In many apps, it is possible to manually apply certain attributes to your text, like bold, italic, underline, strike through, things of that nature. But it is also possible in many apps to use paragraph styles. And that's what we have happening here. And Notes offers both options, but by default, they automatically apply the title style to the first line of text, and then they apply the body style to the rest of the text. So a paragraph style is essentially a group of attribute changes or a group of attribute settings that you can quickly apply to text by choosing that style, rather than having to manually apply bold and change the font size to 30 and all these things. You can automatically have that group of attributes applied to the text that you select by simply choosing a paragraph style. So keep that in mind, because in a few minutes we're going to demonstrate that, and we're going to show you how to make some paragraph style changes, and we might actually apply some other attribute changes as well. So I told you we had a lot to talk about with text. That's going to be the first thing. We're going to actually do some formatting. Now, there are a couple of ways that we can do that. We can do it through the rotor, and we can do it through the format menu in the note. But I want to actually move on, and I want to see what else we can work with first, because before we apply formatting, right, we want to make sure our document is perfect in every other way, right? Before we work on any formatting, We want to make sure that the text is actually correct. So let's go to lines. We can read this a little more quickly here.
Note, characters, words, lines.
Swipe down.
How is class going today? The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog.
All right.
Class is going well. I look forward to hearing from you. God bless you and take care. Hell there up crying. This is a sentence.
Okay, we got a problem there, right?
How is class going today? Body. Indentation level 0. The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog.
I'm just using line navigation now. There's a blank line.
Class is going well. I look forward to hearing from you. Body. Indent. God bless you and take care.
All sounds good. I certainly could check it if I were concerned, but...
Hell there up crying. Body. Indentation.
Ooh, that doesn't
level
sound
0.
good, does it?
Hell there up crying.
Let's go
Misspelled.
to lines, let's go... We're in lines. Let's go to words.
Words.
And let's see what...
Hello. Misspelled. There. F crying period.
Oh,
F
wow.
crying period.
So
misspelled.
we've got 2 misspellings that it's finding.
F is
And
a sentence.
I'd say we better fix those, right? So there are several ways that you can fix spelling errors, and it kind of, what the best option is also sort of dependent upon the app and so on. Now, our sighted counterparts are really only going to do it in one of two ways. All right, so for our sighted users who are doing spelling corrections, you really have 2 methods to do it. One being as you type, like we already demonstrated, right? It fixed the word there just through autocorrect. And the other method is that as you see the word that's misspelled, it will be underlined in red, and you can tap on it. I think you long press it, and you can get a list of choices to correct it. Now, as VoiceOver users, we can actually do this as well in some apps. I know we can do that in Pages. I think maybe we can do it in Notes, but we don't long press the word. We use the edit rotor, and I don't fully remember if it works that way in Notes or not. I know you can do it in Pages, but for sighted users it will. But
Return.
Let's try it.
Lines that we will use to. This is a new line. This is a sentence that we will. New line. Hell there up crying.
Okay.
Word. Hello.
Let's select this word hello.
Hello.
And by doing that, what we'll do is
lines. Text selection.
We'll go over to text selection.
Swipe right to expand.
If you don't have text selection in the rotor, I highly recommend adding it. And then what you do is you swipe up or down to choose how we're selecting.
Word selection.
We want to select by word. My VoiceOver cursor is before the word I want to select. It's up in front of it. So now I'll swipe to the right to increase the selection, swipe to the left to decrease what's selected. We're going to select the word hello.
Hello. Selected.
And I think if we go to the edit rotor.
Lines. Word. Character. Misspelled. Edit.
Oh, I could actually do it with misspelled words there too once it's selected. But I think in the edit rotor.
Copy. Cut. Paste. Replace.
Replace. If I double tap on replace. And this is where.
Selected. Return.
I don't know.
Note. Suggest. Heal.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yep, it's just to the right of the edit field.
Note. Suggested. Hello.
And I can just double tap on that.
Hello. Hello. Note. Text field.
And now look.
Word. Hello. There.
It fixed it, okay? So that's the equivalent of how our sighted counterparts would do it. As you're reviewing your note, you find the red underline word, which VoiceOver will say misspelled, and you can then just select it with your text selection, go to the edit rotor, and choose replace. And that works in Pages as well. Now, here's the thing. That's very, very convenient for sighted users because they can easily see the red. For us, we have to wait till we get to it and VoiceOver says misspelled. And praise God that it does. It's an awesome feature and I really like it. And it's a great way to do it. But because that might take more time with VoiceOver, Apple has also added, well, I assume that's the reason. I can't speak for Apple, but it would seem like that's the reason. Apple has also added to VoiceOver a sort of global spell check option. And so I'm gonna actually go back here and I'm gonna make this
characters,
word
space E.
We did hello
Echo.
already, so let's do
V-E-R-E-H.
let's misspell the word there
T.
and not autocorrect this time.
Tango.
Let's put the word
J-J-R. Right paren.
Okay.
Return. Words.
look.
T-J-R. Here. Misspelled.
Okay, it's misspelled perfectly. All right, so we have 2 misspellings. So we're going to use the global spell check this time, which is only a voiceover feature. Let's go back to the beginning of our document.
Note, text field, insertion point at start.
And we're going to see all the misspellings we have. We're going to bring the voiceover cursor focus to the keyboard on screen.
Return.
And we're going to turn the rotor
Use
until
the
we
rotor
hear...
to access misspelled words.
Listen, you heard it say, use the rotor to access misspelled words. That is not something that you have to add to the rotor yourself. It's there when it's needed. So we're going to turn the rotor to misspelled words.
Characters. Misspelled words.
There it is.
Swipe left or right to choose a replacement, then double tap to insert.
And it even gives you the information on how to do it. But what we first have to do is we have to swipe up or down to get to the misspelling. So swiping down will take you to the next misspelling. Swiping up will take you to the previous instance of a misspelled word. So we're at the beginning of the document, so let's swipe down.
Selected.
There it is. And what it does is it selects that word, and now if I swipe to the right... Okay. The problem is it doesn't know what I wanted. It's too far off and it doesn't have any suggestions. So let's see if the next one does. Swipe down.
Brian, selected. Everyone.
Oh, that one, it's got it when I swipe right.
Everyone.
Okay, there's only one suggestion there. It could have more suggestions, but that's the correct one. So let's double tap on that.
Everyone, unselected.
All right, so it fixed everyone. Now, what are we going to do about this there that's just so badly misspelled that it has no idea what it is that I intended to say? There are no guesses. Well, what we'll do is we'll swipe back up to it. If we're still on misspelled words, we'll be able to.
Selected.
All right, and again, there's nothing that it just has no idea. But you heard it say selected. So what that means is that the word is already selected. And since it doesn't have any idea what I intended, I am just going to have another go at it. While it's selected, I'm going to make another attempt to do a better job of spelling that word so that now either it will be correct or maybe the next time it'll pick it up in the misspellings. So let's type the word there.
T, selection deleted.
And
J-E-R-E.
Oh, that's how I think it's spelled. No, it's still wrong, but look, it wants to auto-correct it. Did you hear that? So now I don't even have to worry about it. I just...
There.
And now there you go. Now it's the correct spelling. So when you find, if you ever find, and of course we're doing that on purpose just to have a little fun, but if you ever find that there really is a word that you've misspelled to the point that VoiceOver just has no idea, just make sure that it is selected, which it will be when you're swiping up and down like that with the misspelled words rotor option. And then once it is selected, you can retype it. It'll erase what's there and put in what you type now. So just have another attempt to spell it differently, and hopefully you'll come close enough. And if we really need to, if we just are absolutely not getting it and we want to, we can always call on our dear friend and say something like, how do you spell collocation?
Collocation. C-O-L-L-O-C-A-T-I-O-N.
Thank you.
No problem.
So if we really need to, we can also use her because then we'll know and we can make the corrections. So that's how easy it is, and I think we're done with the misspellings. If I swipe up or down, yep, there are no more spelling errors. You can hear that. So we've fixed all the misspellings. All right, before we do any formatting, I still want to make sure everything else about this document is good. So let's go back.
Return characters, words, lines.
And read the rest of this.
Hello there, period. Hello there, everyone.
Okay, now I inserted a period
Words,
that I don't
character,
need.
E-N-E, period, E-N-O-Y. Word, ever, period, E.
Okay, we're good.
Words, lines.
Reading.
Very one period. This is a sentence that we will use to practice the selection of some text.
Oh, yeah, I don't like the way I wrote that at all. Man, that's just, why would I say it that way? Let's see, what would be a better way to say it? We will use this sentence to practice we will use this sentence to practice text selection. There we go, that's far less verbose and lengthy and just, So, wow, we're going to have to, how do we do this?
This is a sentence that we will use to practice the selection of some text.
All right. So, I think what I want to do, boy, this sentence really needs work. I think what I want to do is, this is a sentence that, I think I'll just delete that entire part of it.
This is a sentence that we will use to practice the selection of some text.
Okay. All right. Boy, I tell you, this is, wow, guys. All right. Well, let's get that out of there first. This is a, let's take that out. I have we will use, I mean, I don't know. Is it going to be quicker for me to retype that or move things around? I don't know, guys. I'll tell you what. All right, let's get the first part out of there, and we gotta just think. So,
this is a sentence that
cursors before the this, and I'm going to turn the rotor to text selection. If you are sighted, what you're going to do is you're going to put two fingers on the screen, and you're going to pinch and spread. If you spread your fingers apart, it will increase what is selected, and if you bring them together in like a two-finger pinching gesture, it will decrease the scope of what is selected. Our voiceover users can do that as well, but what we find is, especially if we have some issues with maybe not knowing exactly how much space it takes up, we're not used to that, it is going to probably be pretty imprecise. So we have a text selection option in the rotor. We just have to make sure we've added it, and that's going to be better. So we're at the beginning of this sentence. Let's go over here.
Text selection. Swipe right to character word.
We're already on words, so let's do.
This is selected.
All right. Right off the bat, we're just going to delete that. It's selected.
Bottom right corner, delete. Selection deleted. This is A.
Okay, we already got rid of this is A. That's a good start. All right, what do we have now?
New line. Sentence that we will use to practice the selection of some text.
Okay.
Body. Sentence that word. Sentence. That.
I want to delete the word that.
Characters.
Yeah, right after it, so.
Delete. T-A-H-T.
And we'll delete that space.
Space.
We still have
E-C-C-E. Spit W.
one space there.
Whiskey.
All right, we will use, I think I want to cut and paste that.
W.
Of course, the W
Whiskey.
is going to be lowercase, and we're going to need it to be capitalized, but I can fix that. But let's cut and paste this. So here's the we.
Space. Words, lines, text selection. We, select, will, selected, use, selected.
Now, well, let's see. Probably the easiest way to get to cut is in the edit rotor. There are different ways, but...
Lines, word, character, misspelled word, edit. Share, look up, paste, cut. We will use cut.
Okay. And now let's go up here.
Return, E, C. Words, everyone, period. Sentence, character, at E,
okay.
At new line.
Right before
at S.
The letter S in sentence,
Sierra.
We're going to paste. Now, you may find that paste is on your keyboard on screen.
Tab, have, cap, I.
That's above the letters, U, I, and O, and it's got suggestions, quick type,
Paste, button.
and a paste button.
Paste.
And what did that do?
Return S, E, S, E, S, U.
It put
word, will,
we will use. Praise God. The thing is, my
delete new line,
W is not capitalized, so we need to fix that.
S.
We'll delete
new line, pair, new E, space, W, E.
Okay, what?
Echo.
Now it's automatically going to be capitalized because it's at the beginning of the line and it knows that.
Cap W.
See?
Cap W.
So now we have
word E, will, use, sentence.
Okay, we need to insert the word this.
Sierra. T-H-I-S space this.
All right, let's read what we have now.
Word, line. We will use this sentence to practice the selection of some text.
Well, I'll tell you what. I don't want the selection of some text. I just want text selection. So let's go here.
Return. Words. Text selection. The practice.
Quickest way to do this probably will be to delete the word the.
E-H-T space E-C-C-E.
And just type.
Echo space. R-E.
Whoops.
E-R-T-E-X-T space. Text. S-E-L-E-C-T-I-N.
And then just delete the rest of the sentence.
Words, lines, text select of, text, selection deleted, of lines, return, word, N, period,
put a period.
Selection.
Now, the way that sentence reads.
Words, line, we will use this sentence to practice text selection.
Much better. Much, much better. So now you can see how easy it is to make corrections as you type. We'll do a little bit of this again in Pages next week, but it is, I wanted to start showing it to you now because this is the kind of stuff that will trip people up if they don't know how to do it, and it's stuff that's really important to do, right? So now what we'll do is we'll start to apply some formatting. So let's go back to the beginning.
Return. Note. Note. Text field. Insertion point at start.
And you notice, by the way,
Undo. Button. Redo. Dimmed. Button. Paste. Button.
there's not just the paste button on screen there. There's also undo and redo. And you also know you can find paste in the rotor, but it's really nice on the iPad that you have those buttons right on the screen there above the keyboard, along with your QuickType suggestions.
Cap high.
Okay, so what we have, we know this first line is title text.
Return. TTJ class test. This is a test. Body. Indentation level 0.
I'd like to change that and make it something other than body.
This is a test.
So, and something sounds like it's weird there.
Word. This. Is a.
Oh,
Is
I see.
Space. A.
Didn't find that as a misspelling, but there's a...
Space. Is.
Let's see if that sounds better.
Words. Lot. This is a test.
Yeah, sometimes you just know by the sound of things. All right, so now what I want to do is I want to select that line and I want to apply some formatting to it using a paragraph style. Now there are options in the edit rotor, but I really like to use the format menu. So let's do this.
This is a test.
Go here.
Text selection. This is a test. Selected.
Now I need to immediately turn the rotor away from text selection.
Lines.
Otherwise it's not going to work properly. And I'm going to swipe to the edit field and swipe left or right.
April 5th. Done. New note. More. Button. Handwriting. Share. Camera. Table. Checklist. Format. Button.
Look at all those options of things we can
Double
do.
tap to choose a style to apply to text.
That's what I want to do. I want to use format.
Format. Format menu. Format. Heading.
Let's see what we have here.
Title. Button. Heading. Button. Subheading. Button. Selected. Body. Button.
Body is what it is right now.
Mono styled. Button. Bold. Button.
Then you have manual options you can apply. Bold.
Italic. Button.
Italic, see?
Underline. Strike through. Bold list. Dashed list. Numbered list. Outdent. Button. Indent. Button. Block quote. Button. Cut. Button. Copy. Button. Paste. Button. Tab.
Okay. So let's use
strike through. Under. Italic.
heading.
Select subhead. Heading. Button. Selected. Heading.
Now you can see that body's not selected,
Body.
but
Selected.
that heading is. And I want to get out of this menu now by either tapping off of it or doing a scrub gesture, 2 fingers. Okay.
Format. Button.
Now let's
return. Note. Return. Text select line. How is class going today? The quick brown new line. This is a test. Heading. 24 point.
Perfect.
Bold.
See?
System font regular.
And
indentation level 0.
we also know that heading is smaller text than the title, which was 18 point.
New line.
But
18 point. Not bold. System
or,
font
I mean,
regular.
not 18 point, 30 point.
TTJ class test. Title. 30 point.
30
bold.
point. Yep.
System font regular.
And then
indentation level 0.
our
18 point. Not this is a test.
that's our heading.
How is class going?
Then,
how new line? This is a test.
Then our
Bottom right.
our
this is a test. How is
regular
class going
text
today? Body
is body. So now let's do some more. Let's do an individual.
Words.
Let's do
the quick brown fox.
Okay, let's do let's take the word. Oh, let's see. What should we do? Let's take the word jumps and emphasize it. So
jumps, lines, text selection.
I'll select that by
character
character just to be sure.
J U M P S selected.
Remember, we've got to turn the rotor away from text selection.
Lines.
And let's go back to our format menu here.
No, more, handwrite, table, check, format, redo, undo, enter, format, button.
All right, let's do
format, type, head, sub, select, mono,
some
style,
manual formatting.
Bold, button. Italic, on, selected, bold, selected.
You can see
italic,
they're both selected. And what we can do is we can Get out of that.
Format.
Now, there are some things that you may notice are missing from here because this is not a full-fledged word processor like Pages is. So we don't have like centering, we don't have the manual control over font size and text color. We're going to get to all of that in Pages, but this is still really powerful. So let's look.
Return. Jumps over the lazy dog. Unselected.
Okay, we had to move the voiceover cursor to deselect that text too. Don't forget that. I didn't tell you that last time, I don't think, but don't forget about deselecting your text. Otherwise, you're going to end up, maybe replacing it with something you didn't want or something by typing over it. But simply swipe down with one finger to deselect it. That's easy. Don't press like space or return or something. All right.
The quick brown fox jumps over the quick brown fox words. Dog period. Lazy. D. Over. Jumps. Bold. System font regular. Italic. Fox. Not bold. System font regular. Not italic.
And look at that. It's so cool. Praise God, VoiceOver tells you. So we are aware it worked. All right, let's keep.
Lines. Fox. Class is going well. I look forward to hearing from you, body. God bless you and take care. Hello there everyone, body. We will use this sentence to practice text selection. Body. End of text. Words.
All right.
Word hidden. TTJ class. Note. TTJ
There's
insertion point at start. Insert at activate rich text. Selection period.
Okay.
Character period.
The next thing I want to show you is we're going to type some more. And we're going to make a bulleted list. And so I'll put 2 returns here.
New line.
Now, we're going to move very quickly, okay? Because that's sometimes what we do in this iPad class. We do demos. We taught, now we're going to demo. I'm going to demo because I want to do some things we've already done and a couple extra. So we're going to type things we will learn.
Cap A-I-G-X space W-E space we W-L-L space L-E-R-N colon new line.
I'm going to format that.
Characters, new words, activate, return with things, line, text selection, word selection, things, we learn, selected words.
All right, turn the rotor away from that. Make that a heading.
Share, camera, table, checklist, format, read, format, button. Top heading, but selected, heading.
Get out of that. And
format, return.
Deselect it.
Things we will, unselected, learn colon. Characters, new line. Words, learn colon, heading, 24 point, bold, system font regular, indent, learn colon. Character, new line.
Now we're going to turn on the bulleted list.
More, camera.
Again in
button,
format.
Checklist, format, button.
And
format. Strike, bulleted list, but selected, bulleted list.
Get out of that.
Format, button.
We'll say basic
Double
iPad
to choose a
setup.
style. Cap V. Cap bullet. Cap B A S I space I. Cap P D space S E T U.
Return.
New line. Bullet. New list item.
Getting connected.
Bullet. Cap G E T T N G space C N N E T E D.
Press return.
New line. Bullet. New list item.
And we'll do one more. We'll say
Cap U. Bullet. Cap U S I N space using. Cap M E S S A G E S.
Now I think if I press 2 returns.
New body. Bullet.
Yep.
New list item.
Now we're back in the body. It exited the list. So we read that.
Caps lock. Return. New line. Words. Lines. New line. List item bullet. Using messages. Left list item bullet. Getting connected. List item bullet. Basic iPad setup.
See there?
New line. Natural alignment. Exited list.
And there's the beginning of that before the list. So it said exited list. If you go back.
List item bullet. New line.
When I swipe down.
Basic iPad setup. Left justified. Entered list. List item bullet. Space. Getting connected. Entered list. List item bullet. Space. Using messages. Natural alignment. Exited list.
All right.
Words. Characters. New line.
Let's do a check list very quickly.
Cap H O dub space T space 2. Cap P R E P E colon.
How to prepare.
New line.
So we'll go back and format that. Well, yeah, I'll format it because I want to be consistent.
Character. New word. To how. Line. Return text. Line. Word. How. To prepare. Selected lines. Checklist. Read. Format. Button.
And again,
Format.
heading.
Select subheading. Heading. But selected. Heading. Return. How to prepare. End of text.
Okay.
Words. Characters. New line.
All right, we're there. Let's make a checklist.
April. Done. New note. More. Handwrite. Share. Camera. Table. Checklist. Off. Checklist. On.
Choose an iPad.
Cap H. C. H. O. O. S. E. Sp. N. Sp. I. Hone. A.
Okay, press return.
Checklist. New list item.
Learn voiceover.
Cap L. Cap E. A. R. N. Space. Cap V. O. S. O. R.
Press return.
Checklist. New list item.
And get excited.
Cap G. Dub T. Get. E. X. C. TED. D.
Think if I press 2 returns, it'll get out of it?
Body.
Yep.
Checklist. New list item.
Let's look at our screen now.
Note. Empty line.
There's the note.
Incomplete. Checklist item. Choose an iPad. Button. Incomplete. Checklist item. Learn voiceover. Button. Incomplete. Checklist item. Get excited. Button. Actions available.
And you notice there are actions available. If I swipe up or down,
Edit checklist item.
I can actually edit the text.
Activate.
But
Default.
I'm going to check these off because I already chose an iPad.
Incomplete. Checklist item. Choose an iPad. Button.
Double tap.
Note.
Whoops.
Incomplete. Checklist item.
Okay.
Choose an
Double
iPad.
tap.
Button. Completed. Checklist item.
Now,
April 5th. Note. Tech incomplete. Checklist item. Learn voiceover.
look what happened. It moved my completed item.
Incomplete. Checklist item. Get excited. Completed. Checklist item. Choose an iPad. Button.
Moved it to the bottom.
Swipe
Well, I'm
up or
already
down to
excited,
select
so
incomplete.
let's check that
Checklist
off.
item. Get excited. Completed. Checklist
So the
item.
only one I have now
April 5th. No. Incomplete. Checklist item. Learn voiceover. Button.
is learn voiceover.
Swipe up
And
or
then the
down.
rest,
Completed. Check. Completed.
they're completed.
Checklist
When I'm
item.
done with learning
Incomplete.
voiceover, I
Checklist
can...
item. Incomplete. Checklist item. Learn voiceover. Completed.
And while my voiceover cursor is focused on these checklist items,
checklist items. Misspelled
we have a
words.
rotor option called
Swipe
checklist
left or right.
items that we can quickly move through them to the next or previous check item, but also
Edit.
in the rotor here under edit,
Paste. Select all. Undo. Mark as unchecked. Remove checklist item. Uncheck all items. Delete all checked items. Set bold.
look at that. And even these,
Set italic.
that's in the rotor too. So we're gonna
Delete all checked items.
do that because we don't need them anymore.
Return words. Prepare colon. Checklist button. Incomplete. Attachment.
And there's nothing there.
Character. Checklist. Check
So
space.
I
New line. Now new checklist.
There's
button.
just one little-
Checklist button. Choose an iPad. New line.
Yeah, they're all gone.
New colon.
Everything's
Colon.
gone.
New-
See
new-
that?
new-
No
new
more
line.
checked items because we deleted them all. Isn't that cool? So that's how easy it is to work with checked items. Now, on Wednesday, we'll talk about some of the other features of things that we can do in notes and so forth. There's one last thing I want to do today, and I do
New
a
line.
sentence here. I think Apple products are great.
Cap I T A N K space cap A P P L E space P R O D U T S space A R space R G O E at T comma great
Whoops.
comma period great.
Okay. In the rotor, when you are not on, when you haven't, like when you don't have anything selected,
Note text field
and
is edited.
your
TTJ class test. This is a test.
when your voiceover cursor is just in the edit field, there's an actions item,
Misspell actions.
and look what's
Activate.
here.
Add link.
Add link.
Activate. Add link. Activate.
Okay. Now I don't know if we can select some text and turn it into a link.
Return.
We'll try that.
Words.
To be honest with you, I've not done it that way
Gray period.
in this app. I have in Pages and other places, but I don't know if we can do it here.
Think.
I want
Character space. Words. Lines.
to try.
Text selection. Lines. Words. Apple. Products. Selected. lines.
Okay, cursor is in the
Note,
edit
I think
field.
I've misspelled words. Actions.
Okay.
Active. Add link.
There it is. Add link. Let's double tap.
Can't text field is editing. Enter a URL or no title. Insertion point at start.
So, you can link to another note.
Access misspelled.
Okay. Now, let me explain that. You can actually link to another note that is in your list of notes. So maybe I'm saying to somebody, well, check out my other note on whatever, and I can link to that note. You can also link to a website, or I assume an email address, but
Name. Heading.
look at under name.
Apple products. Text field.
Because I had that text selected, it already gave it the correct name, so I don't have to, excuse me, I don't have to type the name, otherwise I would, but...
Text field is editing. Enter a URL or no title.
So,
G.
that's going to be to the Apple Store.
H, T, T, links P, S, at colon, call at B, slash, S, T, O, R, E, period, A, P, P, L, E, period, C, O, M.
And?
Numbers. H, name. Link to head done button. Note, TTJ class test. This is a test. And 8 note, characters, words, lines. Add link. Activate character word line. New line. Words. Cap I. Think. Space. Apple. Link. Yellow products. Link. R. Dark gray. Gray period.
Look at that. It even tells us.
Gray R. Products. Link. Yellow orange.
It's a yellow-orange color. It's the link. And if I have the voiceover cursor.
I think. Apple product.
Note.
Misspelled word links.
Now, there's a links option in the rotor.
Apple products. Note. Text field.
And if
is Apple products. Link. Apple
we double tap it,
Safari. Note. Safari. Show sidebar.
Takes us to the Apple Store.
The best way to buy the products you love. The latest heading level AirPods. AirTag.
Look at that, see?
Selected. Address. Apple.com. Secure.
There it is. All right, praise God. Wasn't that cool?
No, but all the editing stuff, I use it daily, all the time, on text, texts, notes, emails, pages, everywhere. And it's super important, I think, to know how to do it, selecting text and deleting and, all of it, all that. It gives you a better front as a person to be able to edit your text and to present yourself in a very sort of intelligent, smooth, or put together way.
Well, yeah. We have to do it. Don't use blindness as an excuse for poor typing. That really makes us look bad as a community, and it's not necessary. Learn the proper ways to edit, as I just demonstrated. Don't put one of those things in the note saying, please excuse any errors, I'm blind and using dictation. No, you're blind, use dictation, and then fix it. It's really not that hard once you learn it. Yes, it can be overwhelming at first. Okay, so there's that. But once you get it, spend a little time with it, and you'll find, you saw, and of course I give all the glory to God, I'm not boasting, but you saw how easy it was for me to do it. Once you have that muscle memory, once you have the practice doing it, it's going to make a big difference. And especially if you're actually trying to compete in the workforce, right? If you're trying to get a job or get a contract or something like that, it's it might seem kind of crazy that a job pertaining to maybe something that has nothing to do with writing, that your spelling or syntax errors are still going to perhaps prevent you from getting that job. But the reality is, when an employer gets hundreds of applications, they have to base their decisions on something. So they might look for some category that will cause them to just throw your application out without ever looking at it. And perhaps, a bunch of spelling errors or somebody doing what they view as making excuses for themselves. Because look, at this point in time, there is no reason we have to do that. If it were not possible for us to go back and proofread as easily, or to fix what we found, like if we're using a Perkins Brailler, then sure. But in this case, praise God, we can do everything our sighted counterparts can do with these devices, including fixing text errors. And I've done it. Look, I'm not perfect. I've made mistakes, and I have actually sent out emails with mistakes and then realized it and thought, oh my goodness, I can't believe I did that. We've all done that, but it's just the idea we try not to, and you have, if you're doing it in a messages app where you have the ability to unsend the message, we taught you how to do that, or edit the message. And even in email, I have a 30-second send delay, which is the longest you can choose to have. And so when I hit send, that message sits there in that outbox and waits for 30 seconds. And if I realize there's something glaring, I can undo the send, or if I forgot the attachment or something, whatever the case may be. So that's a benefit too. But when you're typing in your documents and stuff, take some time and make the corrections. And then you'll find that overall, it's a much better outcome.
Well, if you use a checklist, does it automatically insert numbers?
So it doesn't do numbers with a checklist. Now, there is a numbered list option in that format menu where we did a bulleted list. We also could have done a numbered list. But the checklist is entirely separate from that, and it's only checked. It's not, numbers or anything, unless, yeah.
Okay, how did you get to the numbered list?
It's in the same place.
Yeah, go to the format menu up above the on-screen keyboard, to the left of the edit field. Like if you find the note edit field, start swiping left, you're going to see like the handwriting and the checklist and the table and draw, all those things. And you'll get to one that says format button, and you double tap that and you'll have to swipe through all those paragraph styles, right? Like title, heading, subheading, body. Okay. And you'll have to swipe past bold, italic, all that. And then you'll see the list. They have bulleted, numbered, and dashed lists in there. God bless you and have a great rest of your day.
Thanks for joining today's session. Didn't get your question answered? Want paid one-on-one training? Email us at support@TTJTech.biz or support@SturItUp.com. And remember, Stur is spelled with a U. That's SturItup.com. I'm Trainer Kliph. Thanks for joining us. God bless. See you next time.